Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Drama to Dharma. And what a week it has been. I'm so grateful for all of you who have joined us tonight and who will continue to join us. I know there's the last presidential debate going on right now, and I've had people tell me they're going to join at 6:30. So we'll just try to help them along as soon as they join us. They couldn't resist but to be part of the drama of tonight's television network. Anyways, my name is Josie Ramirez Herndon, and I am your host along with my cohort, Gabriel, Archangel Gabriel. He's saying, really? Josie, you're calling me a cohort? I feel a little leisurely tonight. So he's my partner in bliss, not crime. He's my partner in bliss. So this is a weekly show, and we share messages from Gabriel, from the realm of Gabriel. He picks the topics. 2 days ago, I wasn't sure if I was going to do the show or do another premiere, and he said, no, let's do the show. That's what this is all about. We have a lot to talk about tonight. And so I said, okay, great, we'll do it. And I said, well, what should the topic be? And he said, progression during planetary retrogrades. I thought, wow, that sounds exciting. Nothing I know about personally. Now, I know a little bit about it, but I'm not an astrologer, so I don't know the scientific details or the history behind all the planets, other than what I've learned just intuitively and, of course, in school. So, but it hasn't been a big part of my study, although spiritually and intuitively we all know about it. So, and I do check my horoscopes, not regularly, but sometimes. Anyways, but what he wants to talk about is, like, right now we are, this is one retrograde I'm very familiar with for the last 20 some years, and that's Mercury. That Mercury is retrograde, became retrograde about a week ago, and it's going to be the shadow of the ending of it, he says, through January. So it's a very long Mercury retrograde. It's during the holiday season, and it's also during what we're anticipating as a spike in the coronavirus and also the political season. So there's a lot going on during the Mercury retrograde. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Mercury retrograde. We're going to talk about some of the other, how the other planets work with that. And the reason he wants to do this is because, not to scare anybody, but to give tools as to how we are able to progress during retrogrades and why retrogrades are so important to us, and so that we can be positive during retrogrades and really push forward. Retrogrades are meant to catapult us to the next level. So that's pretty exciting. So that's what we're going to talk about. And I also asked that you ask me questions. I do want some questions from you guys. That helps me. If you have questions for Gabriel or from the angelic realm, then Gabriel will answer them, and we can, offshoot into little discussions about that as well. So if there's something burning in your heart that you want to talk about tonight, or you have a question for Gabriel about, please just put it up in the chats, and then Debbie will put it up for us so that I can answer those questions. Or I won't, but Gabriel will. So what I'm going to ask everybody now is to just help me invite the angelic realm in. They're always here with us, but welcome them here into our realm. And I'm welcoming Gabriel and the angelic realm of Gabriel and the other archangels, Michael, Raphael, Uriel, and Metatron, so that they will all be here with us and guide us and give us some messages from their realm as to how we can work our daily lives, or integrate the daily life of our human life, the physical realm, and the non-physical realm, and how we mesh them together, and we can progress and fulfill our purpose of which we were born. That's the bottom line here. That's the reason why I have the show, and it's important that these messages come across, is to help us remember who we truly are and to fulfill our divine purpose. So that's our goal, is to help fulfill our divine purpose. Oh, I see Jody's here. Thank you, Jody, for joining. And Jody, I was mentioning, please ask questions. It helps me. It helps the show go a lot, I don't know, more interesting. Not that Gabriel's not interesting. He's like, boy, Josie, you're really. First, I called him my cohort. Anyways, so let's see. The planetary. We're going to start with Mercury. who is a planet of communication and the planet of travel. It's like the energy of vacation, the energy of vacation, the energy of travel and communication. Communication is a big part of it. So when retrograde is going direct, which is most of the time, our communication is clearer. Our travel goes smoothly, that type of thing. Electronics go smoothly, things like that. But when Mercury goes retrograde, which is backwards, then all those things slow down and go backwards. Now, I know throughout my lifetime, and since I've known about the retrogrades over 20 some years ago, I've noticed during the retrograde, and it could be a law of attraction thing as well, which is a big topic we always talk about too. So it's one of those conundrums. Are we bringing it to us, or is it, chicken or egg? But I have fallen during those times. I have scrapes. I have different scars from the times that I have fallen during the retrograde. So it's almost like because of the retrograde, the planet is on an uneven. You feel like things are uneven. You can be talking to somebody and it's going like wonka, 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 wonka. He says it's almost like, the peanuts when they're and you can't really understand what they're saying, but you know that they're talking. That's kind of how it is. and you feel that when you're speaking with people, you're like, didn't you understand what I said? Or I said that to you. And for me, I'll have people tell me, Josie, we talked about that, and literally I don't remember. And he says it's not necessarily my memory. It's that I didn't hear them. I didn't absorb their words when they said them. So, sometimes you might think, oh, am I losing it? Gosh, I spoke to that person yesterday. They said that they told me this and I already forgot. Well, you didn't hear him at all, he says. So you didn't forget. You just didn't hear it. So you nodded your head and you had a complete conversation with somebody, but you did not even comprehend the conversation with each other. And that's where communication falls through the cracks. That's where, you get angry because you're like, that person's not listening to me. They're not hearing me. They don't understand me. They don't love me. They don't care. I mean, it can go all that way when really, truly, they do love you. They just didn't hear a word you said. Now, to top it off, he says Mars is as close to the Earth as it will be in several years. So when Mars is close to the Earth, that is the planet of the masculine, right? That's a masculine planet. So the masculine is very powerful right now. So if you're feeling extra strong and tenacious, you are. Because you've got more masculinity. And the men right now are feeling pretty darn good. So that's good. So, it's like, men, go, you're going to, right now with Mars being close to you, it's not a retrograde, but it's a planet that's nearby. And, a lot of them are nearby, but, Jupiter and Venus has been very close and all that. But right now, Mars is just, you can see Mars with your eyes. You can take pictures of Mars and you can see the red planet. It's very cool. If you haven't done that, and you can go out and do that, check it out, take some photos. It's pretty amazing. But that is the planet of the masculinity. And that's the masculinity that we feel. And we all have feminine and masculine as part of us. But if you're feeling extra, the strength of masculinity, the strength of healing, just grab onto that strength. It's so wonderful to know that there's a power that's strong and sturdy and steady. And as a woman, that's who we have. We have all of us have that in us, and we can grab hold of that and really push forward during this retrograde. We can push forward because Mars is there to help us to hold on. Mars is saying, just, grab on to my energy. If you're feeling off balance, if you're feeling like you're going backwards, grab onto Mars. And again, this is new information for me because I don't know all this stuff. So Gabriel's just sharing that. I think that's pretty cool. I wish I would have known this about a week ago because I fell. I literally fell. I was on vacation, which is probably something I shouldn't have done during a retrograde. But anyways, so I was traveling during a retrograde this last week, of course. And day 2, I'm getting the ice chest. We rented an Airbnb. I was getting the ice chest out of the garage, and somebody had taken the tab off, so it had leaked all over the garage. And I could not stop myself from slipping. I almost slipped underneath the car. I mean, I went down, and my whole left side is like bruised. So it wasn't a pretty sight. I was there by myself. Nobody heard me. I had to figure out how to get myself up. But I mean, I fell all the way down. The only time I have fallen all the way down is during a retrograde. And I say all the way down because when you fall all the way down, you just know you're like all the way down, right? And in a sense, it was good that nobody was watching, because at other times I've had, an audience in a parking lot or something. But so the only good thing is I was by myself, but the bad thing is it hurt and I was all the way down, and I'm older now and it wasn't great. So it just, so for me, it's like, okay, that reminded me at that moment that I have to slow down. So the rest of the weekend, I was very deliberate about everything that I did, and moving forward, it's a reminder that during a retrograde, be careful, be extra mindful, be focused, deliberate, because if there is going to, at least in my case, if there's going to be a fall every 5 years or whatever, it's always going to be during a retrograde. So yes, I fell all the way down again. Now, I am going to read some of the questions here. Carly, I don't know about the planetary retrograde, but I have felt like there is negative energy both coming toward me and coming from me. Here we go. Coming toward me and coming from me. I am not a negative person by nature. I have felt anger, and I'm not an angry person. Where is all this negative energy coming from? Very good question, and thank you for that question, Carly, because you are like the sweetest person I know, and we've talked about that many times in the show. And I have felt the anger coming through too. So yes, there is a lot. That's part of the communication. So if you feel like people are not understanding you, then you might take that as negative and angry or not understanding, and then you in turn are going to get frustrated, and they're going to get frustrated. So the frustrations are going to be when there is a lack of communication, then it only takes nothing for an anger to come, basically, right? Frustration, when you're not feeling like you're being heard, you feel like maybe somebody's being passive aggressive towards you, not being authentic about what they're saying, making fun of you, whatever it is, when you're not on the same realm and you're not hearing what they're saying. So a lot of this is just to remember that, to start your day out. He's suggesting, Gabriel's saying, start our day out with a meditation, a prayer, a thought of well-being, and a thought of clarity, but most importantly, a thought of grounding, to be grounded in this earth and to get focused. So he wants us to be focused. He wants us to make lists. He suggests that we all make lists just in general, little things that, if you're having an important conversation with somebody, say, please understand, I'm having a hard time right now remembering things. Things are kind of fuzzy with me right now. So I'm going to take down some notes because I want to make sure that you know that I hear you. And that if there's something I need to do to follow up on this conversation, that I'm going to have it in my notepad. And that's what I'm going to do, Josie, because because I'm the worst right now. I feel like I'm scattered. So I bought a little notepad that says tasks or whatever, one of those little notepads where you can just jot things down, put the date, jot things down that you don't want to forget, because I'll forget things. But really now I understand what Gabriel's saying is I'm not forgetting things. I'm not understanding them, or I'm not hearing them. My grandson yesterday, he was doing his homework last night for, he's 5, so kindergarten, because I kind of kept him a couple extra days out of town. So anyways, we had extra homework. And there was this one page that he couldn't do. He made a mistake on it. And he was so frustrated. He got so angry. He wanted to rip it up and throw it away. He was so frustrated that he made that mistake. And I said, Nolan, this is a great opportunity for you to figure out what it is that you need to do. You don't understand it. We read the directions. I didn't even understand it. It was kind of weird. And so do the best you can. Talk to Miss Marla, your teacher, and ask her if you did it correctly. And if you didn't, then have her explain it to you, because you can even say, Nanny wasn't sure if we're doing this correctly either. So he did. and just having that little conversation with him, and then him talking to his teacher about it today. She explained it, and he was like, wow, okay, I can do this. And she gave him an opportunity to do it again. But I wanted him to learn the lesson about communication and about problem solving, because he immediately went to anger. He wanted to rip it up, throw it away. He was done. He's only 5. He was just so frustrated, but he's a perfectionist too. So we all kind of get that way. And that's a little example, but a big important thing that I learned by having that conversation with him, because of what my words were to him, that I want to share with you, and to give myself as a reminder that we are not perfect, and we don't have to have it perfect. That's not the goal in life. That's not why we're here. We're here to learn, to progress, to find solutions. So if you're frustrated with something, step back, write it down, use the retrograde, the pulling back, as an opportunity to just focus on how to make things progress. So what he's saying is, if we can progress, if we just slow it down and we can think through it. And even if we tell ourselves, I might just want to complete 3 things today, 3 things. I don't want to have a list of 10, but I want to start and finish 3 things today. That way you don't have a bunch of stuff hanging. So if we do that, that's going to help us to focus. And then we might say, tomorrow I want to do 5, however our goals are. But, right now is a time when things are going so fast and, backwards. It's like you feel like you're starting things, you can't finish them. Things are all over the place. Focus on 3 things at a time to do and to complete. And then go on to your next 3 things. And that way you're actually completing things. And because this is a time of almost hibernation, he says, during a retrograde, it's like a time that we have to ourselves. That's when we can really focus and be conscious of that focus, and be conscious of our intention. He says this is the perfect time to set our intentions of the things that we want for the law of attraction, because when we're retrograde, he says it's almost like a boomerang. So we're being pulled back by the energy, and then as soon as it goes direct, we're going to shoot forward. And if we shoot forward with intention, we're going to get everything we ask for, everything we've been pre-paving during this time. This is a time of pre-paving. So it's an exciting time. It's the time when we can really just kind of focus on what it is that we want to do, and not just jump into decisions quickly, complete tasks, and be prepared for, after the first of the year, 2021 is going to be a new year. We need to shake off 2020. We're in the last quarter of it with the retrograde, of course. So that way we can launch forward in 2021. Yeah, this is a great question. I'm not sure who it came from because it says Facebook user. If you're on Facebook, please put your name on there, because the platform that I have, StreamYard, it doesn't show who it comes from, but I know I have friends watching, and I don't always know they're watching because of the platform. So if you put a question up or you want to say hi, just put your name, say, hey, this is, Denise, and here's my question. That way I'll know. Or a new friend to the show. This is Elizabeth, that helps me out because it doesn't give me on there who it is. All right, but my wonderful Facebook user is asking, what about pandemic fatigue? It's been 7 months of shutdowns, long time to keep going in these times. Oh my goodness, that's a great question. It's a thing. It is a thing. The pandemic fatigue. You see it everywhere. You feel it yourself. You feel it amongst friends. You watch it on television. People are tired, and they're not even sure why, because they're not doing anything. They're used to doing a certain thing. Right now, during this retrograde, this last quarter of the year, the pandemic fatigue is going to be pretty heavy, Gabriel says, because this is the time of resting, okay? So if you feel right now during this fatigue that everybody's feeling that you need to sleep, before you fall asleep and you want to rest and take this time to rest, he says, in a nap or so forth, do it with intention. to ask the angels to give you energy and to give you the downloads and the messages. This is a time, rather than focusing on the fatigue, you're going to focus on energy. So you're going to ask them to fill your body, your mind, and your spirit with the divine energy so that you can have the energy to do what it is that you want to do what it is that you need to do, and to be able to fulfill your purpose for which you're here. So it's the most important that during this time of fatigue, he said it is a fatigue, it's a fatigue that the entire planet is feeling, that you ask specifically for energy. So if you feel like you want a nap, take the nap, but also ask them for energy and go for that walk. This morning, I didn't want to go for the walk, but for my health, I had to. So I did my 3 miles this morning. I didn't really want to, but once I started, it felt great. So I'm going to start up my walks again. I need to for my health. We all need to for our health. So balance, again, he says exercise is so important. Move your body, whatever that means. Go for a walk. Just, do some sit-ups, run around your house, whatever it is to move your body, get your blood flowing, because if you've seen or know any family members who have been fatigued and who have been sick up to this point, you've never experienced it before, but now you're experiencing it, it can only continue to get worse. Your immune system will start being affected by it. You're going to get, you could catch colds, you could catch this coronavirus, then you're going to have if there's anything that you have, any type of a medical issue that might be dormant in your body from birth, this is the time it's going to come out. And I know that. I'm going to share with you full disclosure about my situation is that I have was diagnosed this last week with AVM, arterial valve malformation. And that's a block in my left lung. So that's why my oxygen's been low, my blood pressure's been high, I've been fatigued, all this stuff. And the doctor says this was a malformation from birth, more than likely, and it's fixable. So that's the good news. I'm going to have some workups, and we're praying it gets fixed in the cath lab, and they just unblock it, and then all my vital signs will go back to normal. But that's an example of what this fatigue could do. Is if there's something in your body that you were born with that you didn't even know you had, it could start popping up now. So be very careful and continue to exercise or begin to exercise. So the angels are telling me to walk every day. It's important for my health, even though it's a lung issue. He says, because it's a lung issue is what he's saying. Walk. Don't lay down, and don't let anything happen to your lungs. If I lay down all the time, which is very tempting for me to do, believe me, because I'm tired from my low oxygen, my lungs will get worse, my body will get worse, and everything can just start going backwards in my body. Talk about going backwards, right? So I'm sharing this with you because it can happen to any of us. I've always been healthy my whole life, and I've actually taken that for granted. I'm realizing right now. So I'm guessing I'm not the only one that feels this way, because it is a global pandemic fatigue. So be very careful, he says. Exercise, ask the angelic realm, ask God for divine energy, and you will get it. And I know when I ask for that, I get it. Like right now, I just got this little burst of energy just saying it. So you can ask that right now and just feel if you feel that burst of energy. And so I hope you can, we can help each other. Just, if you want to talk to each other or text each other, burst of energy, just let's do it. Okay, Kate says, you've touched on, let's see, hold on. Okay, I'm going to try to go in order here. You've touched on gravity before and its importance. How does retrograde affect gravity? Very good question. So the gravity is what makes us human. That makes the earth, right? So it's the physical realm is gravity. Or gravity is the physical realm versus the non-physical realm of non-gravity. So the retrograde, this is Gabriel, kind of what I just saw was like, okay, say that you shake something like right here, you're shaking and there's nothing, like it's just air, nothing's going to happen. I shake my table, all this happens. So, sorry, I didn't mean to make you guys dizzy, but he wanted me to give an example. So gravity is the earth. That's where we are. We are in gravity. Our bodies are gravity. So you shake up, you move back, you pull it back, and you're going to feel it. Now, the non-physical realm, it just kind of flows, the non-physical realm in the universe. But here with gravity and the retrograde, it's just going to be even more so. And that's why we feel it as humans, because we're very delicate. He says we are delicate as humans. That's why if we get in a car crash, we are going to get hurt. We can't go and jump off a building and not get hurt or killed. So, our bodies are very fragile. They're all gravity. It's time. That's what makes time, is gravity. And so during a retrograde, if it weren't for the time that we live in and the gravity that we have in our bodies, that make us up, our essence of who we are, then it wouldn't affect us. The retrograde wouldn't affect us. It would just fly through us. So, but because we are delicate human beings, while we're here and we must take care of our bodies, the retrograde, we're going to feel it. And there are ways to progress during. And again, some of those ways would be to be focused before you step forward. Be focused. It's better to stand still for a minute, sit still, come up with your plan, breathe, whatever it is you need to do, and then move forward deliberately. And it's not easy to do that all the time, but if you feel like you're getting off balance or things are going like that, take a few minutes. He says it's well worth it to take a few minutes to get yourself grounded and then to move forward. And then you'll see that you're going to go 10 steps further, 100 steps further than you would have if you would have just kept going sideways. Have you noticed? And I won't mention names, but I have some friends that I know and family who have been affected by this in certain ways and literally lost keys, lost glasses, everything's getting lost. Can't find stuff. You're like, what's going on right now? I lost my keys. I can't, I tried driving here and then I left this purse there and I had to go around. So you feel like you're kind of going around in circles because you're not focused. So it's so important to just stop and focus. And my big lesson was day 2 of my vacation, which was kind of really day 1 because I got there the day before, when I fell, and that got me at least grounded for the rest of the week to where I was very mindful and a little bit paranoid the rest of the vacation. And my family can vouch for that. I was like, overly protective of everything, but I still had fun. And I didn't let it affect me. I found out about my diagnosis on my way to my trip to Arizona. Driving, I was talking to my doctor, doing a telemedicine in the car. That's the one thing about telehealth. You can do it anywhere, right? And so he's giving me this news that I wasn't really expecting. And I'm still, just coming to terms with it. And so somebody asked me, how did you feel on vacation? How were you while you were on vacation? Did you feel sick? Were you tired? I said, I really I was pretending I wasn't sick. I didn't want to be sick. I don't want to be sick. But the bottom line is I did feel tired. I did fall. I had to be more careful. So I wanted to just live life and be happy because life is so short. And that's what I did. I had a great time, but I was mindful and careful at the same time and took care of my body, went to sleep when I knew I had to, didn't overdo it. Did jump into the lake off the boat. Didn't really want to do that, but I had peer pressure from my grandson and my kids. So I jumped in and it felt really good. Once I was in, I got out really quick and I was done with that fun. I didn't want to go on the boat anymore, but, so live life to the fullest in your comfort zone. Carly, can we say a prayer for Colleen and her to be healed from COVID? Yes. Oh my goodness. Colleen, our friend Colleen, who she's been on our show in the past. She was supposed to be on our show tonight. I didn't want to say anything, but for confidence, but Carly mentioned it. She's her sister, and we love Colleen. I was gonna have her come on the show tonight to give an update regarding the perpetrator from her kidnapping back in 1978. She's got a long story. You can watch one of our shows, a couple of our shows. She's been on it. And she has coronavirus. She was positive. Her test came back positive today for COVID. So let's please put Colleen into prayer and her healing to be quickly, and for her to just have minimal symptoms, as they're all talking about minimal symptoms. I know when Jim had it, he didn't have very many symptoms. So Colleen, you're in our prayers, and we want you to pass this through very quickly, pass through your body to where you're going to have very minimal symptoms. I didn't see that. You just pulled that up. Let's see. And let's pray for Josie, and all of the upcoming test procedures and so forth are healed. And so it is. Thank you so much, Carly. Thank you for putting that up there. And yes, please pray for me, and I will pray for you. Let's pray for each other. Right now is the time for us to keep each other in sacred thoughts and prayers, because we don't know from one day to the next how things are going to roll. And that's why it's so important for us to always be ready to fulfill our purpose, and to be ready for God, and what God has in store for us, and what the angels have for us, just to continue to move forward with our gifts, to move forward with whatever it is that they're asking us to do, what God's asking us to do, what you feel divinely inspired in your heart to do, wherever that comes from, whether it comes from your music, whether it comes from your readings, whether it comes from your Bible, whether it comes from your Quran, wherever your messages come from the divine, just fill them with your heart and go forward with them, because that's why we're here. And we don't know, life is so precious and so short. Let's see. Carly. Let me see. I'm trying to see here. So Jody says, best thing we can do is create a calendar with intention and goals and break it down to the hour. I had a college professor teach this one thing to us, and she said it was the number one most important thing to do in life. Oh, well, that's pretty cool. So, okay, so let's see. Jody's saying if we create a calendar with intention and goals and break it down to the hour, that sounds pretty intense. I'm going to have to learn more about that. So if we put it in our calendar, what our intentions are each hour, is that what you mean, Jody? Put it each hour, put down an intention in our calendar. So when you say break it down by the hour, I might have to go offline, talk to you about that, and then we can bring it up as old business for next week, because that sounds like it's a great formula. So thank you, or you can share it with us next week on the show, because it sounds like it's something that's worked for you and your success in the music world and everything that you do in life. So that sounds great. That sounds wonderful. Let's see. Carly says, I'd like it. I don't know. The three things are perfect for me. I've noticed if I try to focus more, I can really. Jody says, praying for you and your health. I'll do the same, stretching, breathing, yoga. Burst, baby, burst. Very good. And yes, that's what he's saying. Yes, it works. It totally works. So, and it's easier to do that now, I'd say, with our iPhones, if we're going to go by the hour, because we can just put in the hour what our goal is. That's pretty cool. I'll try that, Jody, and I'll call you if I have any questions, because that could probably I could see where that would just bring things up really quick, because you're working your intentions on a regular basis. It's not, here or there. So I can see where manifestations would happen quickly if you've got them constantly going like that with your intentions. But for those who, want to just kind of get through right now, with, just moving forward, taking things slowly, then, you can come up with your list and actually put them on your calendar on your phone to remind you of what they are. So you could either do them hourly, or, say you want to have something done by 2:00, whatever, however you want to do your goals. You can, definitely do that. But it's important to put them in writing so that you see them and so that they're there. Because once you put something in writing, then it is deliberately imprinted DNA in the universe. That's something that we wrote about a while back with Gabriel, is, once you think you have your thoughts, and those are our private sanctuaries, our thoughts, and they can, nobody really knows about it, and that's kind of our little playground, he says, of thoughts, and then of our creativity, where we can, but once, we write them down, then it just becomes permanent, because it's written. And then when we speak them, they're very powerful as well, most powerful, because they're vibrationally felt. So when they're written, they're there. And then when they're spoken, they're vibrationally there. But when they're still our thoughts, that's okay, because they haven't really gone to a permanent realm yet. So, that's probably a relief for a lot of people, thinking like, oh my God, if people only knew half the things that I think about, right? Yeah, no, nobody has to know. That's your little playground. That's your own abyss, says, and it could be good or bad or indifferent. If you have too many negative thoughts, and you're gonna, want to get rid of those or whatever. But just, or whatever. There's no right or wrong, but those are your thoughts. So there's no judgment because nobody knows about them. The only time they become real is when you speak them or when you write them down. But when you write them down, if you're wanting to write them down to get rid of them, then you can write them down and burn it, and then it's gone. If you do those, there's ceremonies that people do like that where they'll write stuff down and they'll throw it into a fire to get rid of it. That's fine. So it's just, but if you put it on the internet, then it's definitely there forever. So be careful what you put on the internet, of course. That's I think a lot of people have probably learned that one the hard way. Well, I appreciate the prayers that are being sent to me. Thank you so much for that. And I just thought that was okay. I wasn't sure if I was going to share with you about the health thing, but I wanted to because you're trusting me with your time during the show, knowing that I'm speaking authentically and that Gabriel's giving his messages, and that every part of my being is also part of my divinity, and that's part of what I'm sharing with you. And that's how Gabriel explains it to me. He says that my entire journey right now is part of, it's my journey. It's all part of where it's going to take me every day. It takes us to the next level of who we are as humans. So there is no right or wrong. It's just part of our journey, our aging, even our gravity. He says when it comes to the physical body, it's part of our gravity. And it's up to us to make a decision at some of these crossroads, what we're going to do with that gravity. What are we going to do with that body? What are we going to do right now? Are we going to progress during a time of retrograde, or are we going to sit here and feel sorry for ourselves and just get more confused? So that's why he wants to share with us some tools and some awareness so that we can say, yes, there will be times when we're going to be confused. And I'm sharing these messages now. Come tomorrow morning, I'll probably already be going around in circles. Who knows? But hopefully not. And if I do catch myself doing that, then I'm going to remember some of these things and I'm going to write down my list. I'm going to try to get focused and use this as a crossroads to say, I want to live and I want to be healthy and I want to move forward and I want to do what it is that I'm here to do, my divine purpose. We all have a divine purpose. That's why we were born. We're all divine, perfect beings. So if you can just remember that in your soul, in your spirit, when you're praying and when you're meditating, ask for your divine purpose and it shall be given to you. The answers will come to you for sure. Prayer is the most powerful tool we have. Thank you for sharing about your house so we can all pray for you. Well, thank you, Carly. And I do appreciate those prayers. I believe in the prayers. I know the power of prayer, intention, and energy. So I thank you for that. The biggest changes I have in life come during a retrograde, usually positive changes. That's from Kate. Very good, Kate. Yeah, it's during a retrograde. That's when things are slower, they're going back, and we can really look at where, we can see things for where they are because they may or may not be going in the direction that we think they should be going in, that we think they should be going in, but they are definitely going in the direction of which they're supposed to be going in, he says. So it could be that we believe things should be going in a certain direction, but really we're able to sit here and look at it and realize I could have been wrong about that. Or, maybe that's not the direction that I'm supposed to be going in. And that's why I'm being pulled away from it so that I can look at it and be deliberate and ask for that divine guidance. And through the divine guidance, move forward. That's what he just said. So that's good. Sending loves and prayers. Thank you, Chris. I'll be fine, everybody. I know I'm going to be, it's definitely fixable. It's good. And if not, well, I'll just give messages from the other side. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to come back. I'm just going to be an angel and kind of help you guys. I'll be like, hello. I'm teasing. I'm not going anywhere. That will be all of us are going to go at some point, transition, of course, but just not right now. Not right now, unless it's, the divine God's grace. Okay, so. Okay, you are my favorite fairy godmother. Thank you for the reminder that it is all divine guidance. Well, you are so welcome. And I don't know who you are because it doesn't say. It's Facebook. Unless Debbie, if you can see on your end who's giving me these messages, please tell me because I'm so excited to get them. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. And yes, we're going to, oh, it was from Jody. Jody, how did I not see that was from you? Okay. Oh, there you go on that side. Thank you, Jody. Jody's so precious. He always says this reminds him of church when he does my thing. We're able to really get, for I don't know about for Jody, but he has said it. But for myself, when I do these shows, it really does help me to feel connected with Gabriel on a whole different level because I'm able to share his messages, which he's excited about, with you, and I feel connected to you through that without even realizing how that works. I don't know if you understand that, but I can feel the oneness of all of us, knowing that you're there with me. And even though I can only see the green dot on my computer, but I know in that green dot there's there's a lot of love and there's a lot of energy that is being transferred to each other. And I know that right now during these times of the COVID fatigue and the COVID whatever we're going through in 2020, we'll just say the 2020 hindsight year, whatever we're going through, any way we can communicate is good. So one more piece he's talking about right now is the retrograde and the Mercury being the planet of communication. It's interesting how most of us cannot communicate in person with each other, that we are during this time communicating via electronics, most of us, whether it even be over the telephone for people who aren't online. So it's a whole different way of communication. And this communication is going to continue to be so, he says, that things are going to continue to be online, things are going to continue to be electronically, transferred, communicated nationally and internationally so that the messages get across to anybody who needs to hear them. So if you're doing anything online, any Zooms, and you feel like you have the fatigue of that, just know that, I guess what I'm trying to say is that to be grateful for everything we have. Just know that it's okay because there are people that we're communicating with each other that we maybe wouldn't have communicated with if we were only in our same circle all the time. So that's important during these times. If you're joining different Zoom meetings or you're doing things online, conferences online, you're going to be sharing energy and messages with people that you would have never shared with before. And so that's something that can be a positive. I know through Debbie and Spirituality Gone Wild, she's on so many platforms now, and which these messages go to on different platforms. So we're able to communicate the messages from our platforms to more people, and through joining these different platforms. I didn't know anything about social media, very little about social media until March of this year when all this happened, and then I was forced into learning more about it quickly through this pandemic. So just grab a hold of all that stuff that you're learning now so that you can keep, so when things kind of go back to however they're going to go, we can continue to communicate with each other internationally and nationally through these different platforms. And so during the retrograde, he said there might be a little glitches that happen. So you might get on a Zoom and there might be a glitch, or there might be frozen, or there might be this or that. That's all part of the retrograde. Just don't get frustrated by it. Just know it's going to come back. Your connection will come back. It'll all come back. Just keep moving forward with it, though. Oh, Carly, yes, I have learned that the school district I work in here in Southern California, she's been working with the teachers and teaching them how to use the electronics. It's not going back to in person. Oh, learning until after the holidays in January. Okay, so she just gave news from what she learned from the school district that she works at, Riverside County, is that school in person, the soonest that they're scheduling that will be January. So the children are learning all online for the rest of this 2020 year. So keep them in prayers as well, because they're getting a lot of this fatigue. They're used to being with each other. The teachers are used to being with their students. The students are used to having the socialization and having fun with each other. So if you have any opportunity to be around children who are having homeschool, just give them a little break. You know, they're going to be rambunctious right now. They're going to be stir crazy right now. So, you know, take them out to go swimming, or go running around or something. You know, they need the exercise. Take them hiking, anything to give them that exercise, that sunlight. And if you feel comfortable, you know, doing a play date with a cousin or something, do that just so that they can have that face to face if possible. If you don't feel comfortable with that, then just take them running around every day. They need to be outside in sunlight, because the kids being indoors is not a good, Gabriel said it's just not good for that generation to do that, because, you know, we thought that they were pretty hooked to electronics before all this and video games and everything. Well, now it's just going to be on steroids. You know, they're, I hate to call it that, but their addiction to electronics, because we're all getting addicted to it, I guess, in a sense. We're getting used to it, and it's going to be the wave of the future. But for the kids, it's important for them to put those electronics down and to take them out, you know, to get some fresh air, to go on a little boat ride. If you know, whatever it is. I was just thinking about my grandson and the pontoon, and I could just see him saying, you know, Nanny, jump in, Nanny, I can, you know, it's fun. And all the kids do it. I didn't want to do it. I did it. And I'm still here to talk about it. I didn't die. No, the big jet boat didn't come and, you know, wipe me out anyways, all the things that go through your head when you're just fell. I literally just fallen that morning. So I was a little off balance. But take the kids out, go out yourself to get the fresh air and the exercise. It's really important. I know I was talking to somebody today that said she was so happy, you know, when she would see people just happy, that it excited her to see people happy outside, laughing and just having a good time. So if you're even alone and you just go outside and go for a walk and smile at somebody, anything to just kind of bring up the vibration with each other and feel that joy and happiness, that's going to make the difference, especially right now while there's lots of anger, there's lots of fear going on, and Gabriel talks about this every week, that we can raise the vibration of those who are around us by being that vibration of elevated vibration, by being the joy, by having the fun, by just saying, yes, I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I'm going to stay positive if it freaking, you know, frustrates me. You know, whether I want to be positive or not, I'm just going to try it. No, but you know, because it may be a stretch. It could be a stretch to be positive, and so just take that challenge and say, you know what, I'm going to try to do something fun today, even though I don't feel like it. And then next thing you know, you're going to catch up with that thought of having fun, and you're going to be having fun. It's hard not to. You can't like be in a fun mood and be in a bad mood at the same time. So if you put your intention out there to have fun and to be in a good mood, you're going to have fun and be in a good mood. Because you can't do both. You can't be in a bad mood and a good mood at the same time. They're just not in the same dimension. So, you know, and if it's like asking too much to do it every day, that's fine. You can maybe just do it on the weekend or something, you know, or maybe on a Monday. You can, or on Hump Day Wednesday. I don't know. Any excuse. Just have fun. Pick a couple days a week. Have a good time, you know, and then, you know, you might like it and then try to do that every day. But right now, it is very normal, if whatever that word means, but it's pretty typical right now for us to feel, for people, he's saying for humans to feel that fatigue, to feel some depression, to feel some anxiety. All of that stuff is real, is very real. And the more you can, you know, maybe talk with somebody about it, share it, so that way, who knows if they're going through the same thing. Be there for each other in a loving way, without judging each other. Just kind of be there, listen, and just try to have fun. Randomly have fun. Gabriel, he would talk about random acts of kindness. So now he's saying take it to another level and do random acts of funness. I don't think funness is a word, but random acts of funness. Even saying that is fun. So if everybody could just repeat after me, random acts of funness. And throwing that ness at the end for the English teachers. For the doctors in the audience are going, what, Josie? That's not even a word. But let's make it up because it makes us laugh. So random acts of funness. Jody's saying that is so funny. See, exactly. That was the purpose Gabriel said. Let's just make up our own words. We've had a couple presidents who have done that, gotten away with it. No, I'm just kidding. That was me saying that. But make up our own words and have fun with it. Okay, because whatever it takes to just have a good time. The angels love to have a good time. They say that we take ourselves way too seriously. As humans. It's not going back to in-person learning. Oh, okay. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything there. So yeah. So random acts of funness. That's the homework for the week. Gabriel always gives us homework every week. And he says for this week, it's at random acts of funness. Okay. Random acts of funness. Make your list however you can complete, if possible, 3 things, even if they're 3 simple things. 3 simple things, and then you can go from there each day, knowing that during this retrograde, it's hard to complete things. Things just aren't being completed. So just to be able to make an intention to complete, start and finish 3 things each day is going to really put us into that practice. And then as we set our intentions during this time, will catapult us when everything goes direct. We're just going to fly towards the future of our divinity, the future, of our divine purpose is what we're looking for, our divine purpose during all of this. That's what this is all about, he says. And he just wants to Jim put in, all do funness. Yes, very good. Funness with 2 N's and 2 S's. Oh my gosh, that's from Jim the linguist. He says if we're going to put the word out, that's how it's going to be spelled. All right. Random acts of funness. So do that. Enjoy your week. Thank you for joining me tonight. Again, I wasn't quite sure how this was going to go, but I didn't need to know. Gabriel said, I just have to show up and share the messages with you. And that's all you have to do is show up for each other, show up for yourself, and share the divine messages for each other. It's easy. He says we take ourselves much too seriously. Just enjoy life. Try to step into, says you don't even have to try. He says, just step into your divine purpose. That's what we can do during retrograde. Step into our divine purpose. It's a perfect time to do that. And I'm going to go ahead and close if there are no more questions. And what we usually do towards the end is I would like to thank my sponsors. Thank you so much. I love you. I love you so much. ATS, Addiction Therapeutic Services, that is now Advanced Therapeutic Services. That's a treatment center that my husband Jim and I own in Rancho Mirage, California. We do outpatient for adults and adolescents, mental health and substance abuse. We do have telehealth, so you can call us and we can do Zoom therapy sessions, Zoom group sessions, as well as in person if you're in our area. And we'd love to help you. We're contracted with 15 insurances, and we take the state Medi-Cal, some of the plans as well. And I'm going to have Debbie put up our little commercial, and then we're going to close with a couple more words from Gabriel. Thank you.
My name is Christopher Zwick. I've struggled with addiction for all of my adult life. I went from alcohol to opiates to heroin and meth. I spiraled down until I ended up in the hospital, malnourished and suicidal. I was the shell of the man I used to be. Then, I found hope. I found ATS. Advanced Therapeutic Services provided me with a safe environment and the tools necessary to recover. I learned how to address the root issues behind the addiction. I now have over a year clean. I owe my life to ATS.
Thank you so much, Chris, for that. And Emmanuel Valenzuela, love you, Josie. Always so good to see you. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. I appreciate that. And it's always wonderful to know that you're there. And I want to thank everybody. Oh, your cousin Amy. My cousin Amy. Yes, I love my cousin Amy. Thank you, Amy. I have not seen you in a while, but I just love that you're watching the show. and I hope you're all well. And my heart is with prayers with Colleen and prayers for you. And I want to end the show with, again, reminding you of your homework, to have funness during the week, dare to be fun, just be deliberate, write 3 things down a day that you can complete start to finish. And I'm going to pray for you and ask you to pray for me, and we will all be perfect until we meet again next week. Thank you so much for joining. It's been a blessed evening.